The Haywood Street Congregation Ministry is something that we started planning for probably 10 years ago. It became apparent that the congregation wanted to be active with the inner city folks and wanted to be in ministry to people who are downtown, which is, in Asheville, is a wide variety of people. We're feeding 250 people a week. We have a big clothing closet, and we have a very moving worship service every Wednesday led by Brian, who's a very passionate young man about this kind of work.
Now, there are about 1,000 reasons why I'm Christian. About 1,000 reasons why I follow Jesus. But maybe most important of all is that when he comes on the scene, the circle gets opened up.
I think maybe what the most important thing we're doing is kind of flipping ministry's model on its head. Typically, what happens with church is that a minister comes in, assumes a particular knowledge of the context, and then casts a vision and then follows a certain amount of delineated steps to do that. What we've done here instead is say, I'm just going to be on the streets, I'm just going to listen, I'm going to hang out at the soup kitchen, I'm going to go under the bridge, I'm going to be in the park and just listen to what people say they need.
When I'm on the streets with people, the primary thing they tell me is once they get into Asheville, you know, folks coming out of town don't have any connections with people, and this is where they get sent. And so this is probably the most infamous spot in all of Asheville for the homeless. It's pretty rough. You're going to see flies and feces, you're going to see used syringes and empty beer bottles, you're going to see a lot of toilet paper laying around and clothes, and this is the first stop for people. And so this used to be the ice provider for the River Arts District when the mills were in operation, and since then it's become this kind of derelict building, and it's abandoned, and it's just a spot for the homeless to use. And so you don't see a lot of people here. You don't see people here during the daytime. It's mostly just overnight shelter for the homeless, and it's pretty rough. It's pretty rough.
I really come for the service. The service is great, very spiritual. It's like a people service. Like you share your testimony and they share their testimony. And it's all about God, and you can just feel it. You know what I'm saying? And then we pray for one another. It's really spiritual. There's a lot of love in the congregation too. A lot of love.
Really, the biggest thing the church does is tell people that they're loved. And I know that certainly in my profession, with any of my clients, homeless or not, that's not something I get to tell them or necessarily even show them. You know, I'm to be objective and professional and maintain a professional boundary between myself and my clients. When I'm here, I'm just Robin, and I can sit with someone who's homeless and hold their hand, and I can bring my needs to them, which is incredible.
I think it's on average maybe 80 people per week that come to the service alone, and that's pretty big for an upstart church. And to have such the diversity, more people from all different walks of life come to the services here, anywhere from the business person to the homemaker to the homeless person to any sort of housed person to students.
I think in a lot of our churches we get the idea that we need to bring our best selves. Here, you can bring your broken self.
We're in charge of the downtown welcome table. which is a weekly meal on Wednesdays. We serve from 11:30 until 1 or until the food is gone, which sometimes that happens. We got together to start doing this. We were new empty nesters and heard about Haywood Street congregation and just came down and talked to Brian about what was needed and decided to take on the welcome table.
Got all these different people eating together, praying together, holding hands together, passing a plate of bread together. That is not offered anywhere, so that's a unique piece.
At first, Amy and Shelley would go to AHOPE and the Salvation Army and let people know that we were having this, and that's how it got started, and then it got word of mouth. And Brian said somebody he talked to last week came up to him and told him that he passed 2 lunch kitchens or soup kitchens to come here because he knew that it was a really good hot meal and that the person felt like they were at home.
We serve a lot of homeless people. We serve a lot of bankers, lawyers, just people in the community. The whole idea is to have a community table. Each of the tables are round so that people are sitting around the table getting to know each other, developing relationships.
I was pumping gas last night at about 9:30 when I had a guy come up to me, and I was sitting in my truck and he literally almost got in the vehicle and said, "Yeah, I was down there at Haywood Street and y'all fed me so well and there was fresh vegetables and you didn't leave me hungry," and that meant a lot to me. And so I think Amy and Shelley are getting a taste of that, and it feels like church.
They have blankets, they have shirts, shoes, belts, underwears that haven't even been used yet. I got an outfit here for an interview one time. The ladies here are very supportive. If you ever need anybody to talk to, they're here to listen. Pretty much anything you need's here.
Another clothing closet in town was relocated over here, and it has since then has expanded. It started out kind of a shell of a space with a lot of boxes and bags, and it's come a long way.
We had a gentleman come in, I think it was about a week ago, with his son, and he was looking for a shirt and shoes. We really didn't have anything that would fit him. One of the volunteers had found a pair of shoes, but unfortunately they were too small. But even though they were too small, the father was just like, go ahead and put your feet in, and his son was saying, Dad, they're too tight. And he said, no, you can do this, just force your foot in the shoe, it's okay. And it's stuff like that that breaks your heart, because you want to help. It's not robbery to give to somebody else in need, especially when you have the means and resources where you can replenish what you already have.
When I was in college, I came out, and in the Methodist Church, it's a little bit hard to follow your dreams. And through this congregation, I found a place where I'm welcomed, where I'm loved, where I'm affirmed. And not only me, but everybody with all the different baggage that people bring are able to come and just be themselves and be a powerful part of the community of God, which I think is what church should be about. I feel like this is the closest to what true community and what Jesus really wanted community to be.
If there is a group that needs a church to help them deal with their problems, it's a church like the Haywood Street. Because this is the only ministry that I know that totally embraces the mentally ill. One of the most discriminated, persecuted minorities, not only today, but in the history of mankind.
I think that the people are really great here. They accept people for who they are.
I'm thankful to everyone in town that's put forth the effort to help us who are less fortunate than them. It means a lot to me, because I wasn't always in this situation.
I mean, people actually talking to you like you're a real person means a lot, especially whenever you've been
shunned by the rest of society.
There's a lot of people out there that deserve help, and they don't know where to turn. And there is people out here like here that are willing to reach out and lend a hand when people are so distraught they don't know what to do.